When it gets really hot in the salon, which is most of the time, I can't stand the smell anymore, and I always have a headache. I want to improve my ventilation. What do? I want something that's going to work. I was very happy that someone asked me this. Why? Because too many nail professionals don't pay proper attention to ventilation, even though this is an important part of working safely. There's a range of things that can be done to improve the quality of your salon air. Now, the goal of all nail professionals should be to minimize inhalation exposure to potentially irritating or harmful substances. Problems can develop when nail professionals don't take steps to avoid excessive inhalation of dust or vapors. But by taking the right steps, you can improve the salon environment for the customers and create a safer, more pleasant workplace for salon professionals working there. Now, this is especially helpful for some very sensitive individuals. They can develop irritated eyes, nose or throat irritation, headaches, difficulty breathing, nervousness, or even drowsiness. Each of these can be related to poor ventilation, or ventilation that's not appropriate for the services that are being performed in the salon. Now, sometimes people get surprised when I say drowsiness. It might seem like drowsiness would not be related to poor ventilation. But think about this. We normally exhale carbon dioxide with every breath we breathe out. When salon ventilation is poor, the carbon dioxide levels can build up in a salon. So this can make you feel tired and listless. Excessive carbon dioxide in the air can even lower your performance and negatively affect your decision-making skills. Poor ventilation allows product vapors and dust to accumulate as well. Just about every substance on Earth has both a safe and a potentially unsafe level of exposure. Salon vapors and dust are no exceptions. In a properly ventilated salon, the vapors and dust are well within safe limits, but not all salons have proper ventilation. I think it's because some don't understand the importance of it, or they might not understand the correct steps to take, or even where they should begin. Some may be confused also by a lot of the misinformation that's out there about salon ventilation. For instance, a very common myth is this, that you can tell somehow how safe a nail product is simply by smelling it. Wait, the safety of a nail product does not depend on what it smells like. It's a mistake to believe that ventilation systems are solely for controlling strong odors. Odors are not the reason for ventilating, and the odor of a substance does not indicate whether it's safe or harmful. Dirty socks and baby diapers may not be very good to smell, but they aren't harmful to breathe, nor are their odors dangerous. Fragrances are a great example. Fragrances smell wonderful, yet some people are sensitive to inhaling excessive amounts. Some vapors also have very little odor, yet they still should be controlled and kept at safe levels. That's why it's important to have a good understanding of these issues and how to keep vapors and dust under control and within safe limits. Minimizing inhalation exposure is an important way to ensure that the salon products are properly and safely handled and overexposure is avoided. Now, what is product overexposure? Nearly every substance on Earth has both a safe and potentially unsafe level of exposure. Injury can result if these safe levels are exceeded repeatedly or for prolonged periods. Again, don't ventilate to control odors, ventilate to control vapors and dust. That's the great way to help avoid overexposure. It's especially important to control the air quality of your breathing zone. Everybody's got a breathing zone. It's an invisible sphere that sticks out in front of your mouth. It's about the size of a beach ball. Every breath you take from the day you're born until the day you die comes from a breathing zone. So it makes sense we want to keep our breathing zones clean. Using proper ventilation helps ensure that the breathing zone is a source of high-quality breathing air. Now, to achieve this goal, first we have to focus on having a properly maintained HVAC system. What the heck is that? Well, an HVAC system is what's built in to your salon. It's the general salon ventilation and air conditioning system. HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. HVAC systems are designed to exchange air from the outside of the salon, bring fresh air in, and to remove dust and pollens. These are very effective at capturing and removing vapors and dust, especially when they're outfitted with replaceable activated carbon and electrostatic dust filtering panels. These are absorbent filter panels that can remove dust and vapors, but eventually they become saturated, and making them ineffective. So these panels have to be replaced 3, maybe 4 times a year. All HVAC systems must be maintained to keep them working, and they have to be cleaned on a regular basis. That's why it's best to work with a local HVAC specialist. They're all over the place. This is what they do for a living. These are skilled professionals that can diagnose the salon's air quality and your ventilation system and provide useful solutions and advice that will keep your system working at its peak capacity. Now, once you've got your HVAC system working, the next thing you should focus on is protecting your breathing zone by using something called a source capture ventilation system. These systems are designed to capture the vapors and dust right there at the source and then extract them from the breathing zone. Once the vapors and dust are captured, they should be passed through a 3-stage filtration system. This system should have a HEPA or HPA filter. HEPA filter. HEPA filters are pre-filters that are used to remove dust. Some activated charcoal air cleaner devices use a pre-dust filter that is able to capture the pre-dust or larger dust, and these are machine washable or replaceable. They don't have to have that, just so they have some kind of a device that removes the dust before it can get to the next stage filter, which is your activated carbon filter. That filter should contain a minimum of 2 pounds of activated carbon. Typically, such a filter will be about 2 inches thick, which is about 5 centimeters. The thicker the activated carbon filter, the more vapors will be removed. And the opposite is true if these filters are too thin. In fact, if they're too thin, they're practically useless. My advice would be to avoid any ventilation system that has little to no activated carbon. For instance, those with flimsy carbon filters less than a 1/2 inch thick, which is like 1.2, 1.25 centimeters. Anything thinner than that is probably too thin. Why? Because the vapors pass through the filter much too quickly to be absorbed, and the majority of the vapors are just blown back into the salon. These types of devices work like fans. They merely blow the vapors away and into other parts of the salon. This does reduce the odor at the nail table, but that's not the goal. Cleaning the salon air is the goal. Devices with thin carbon filters aren't ventilation, they're a form of circulation. These devices can fool many into thinking the vapors are being absorbed when they're not. They're just being redistributed into the salon so everyone can breathe them equally. I don't recommend wasting your money on these ineffective ventilation systems. Using a ventilation system that doesn't work well is sort of like putting a screen door on a submarine. What good is that? Other than to give you a false sense of security. When properly designed and correctly used, source capture systems protect the salon air and the breathing zone, and they're the most effective way to prevent inhalation of dust or vapors. Source capture systems that return filtered air into the salon can work very well if they're properly maintained. Even so, if it's practical, always direct the ventilated air to the outside. If you can do this, it will be less expensive in the long run, since you won't need to purchase replacement air filters. Now, I do recommend the use of professional HEPA air room cleaners, but not as a replacement for source capture system. Now I'm talking about these standalone systems, a standalone HEPA room cleaner, air cleaner. They're an extra step that can help further clean the salon air, but Definitely avoid using air cleaners that are designed for home use. You notice I said professional before. The home use ones can remove pollen, cigarette smoke, etc., but they're not suitable for salon use. Use a professional quality air cleaner designed for use in a salon, and use one that uses a HEPA filter and a thick bed of carbon. Again, I don't recommend using any filter that uses too little carbon. They're going to be ineffective. And I also don't recommend using any air cleaner that produces even the tiniest amounts of ozone. This ozone is used to neutralize the odors, but it doesn't remove any vapors or dust. Ozone is a hazardous air contaminant, even at very low concentrations. In the United States, the Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, has warned consumers against using air cleaners that release ozone due to the health risks that they can create. Now, these devices can cause watery eyes, runny nose, coughing, chest tightness, a metallic taste in your mouth, shortness of breath, and even blurred vision. Now, these are not effective. The ozone devices are not effective for controlling dust or vapors in the salon. And both healthy people and those with respiratory difficulties can have more breathing problems when they're exposed to even low levels of ozone. For instance, 40 parts per billion. That's 40 molecules of ozone per a billion molecules of air. That's pretty low concentration. Now, here are some important tips to remember. Source capture system filters should contain an activated a carbon filter, and this carbon filter should be about 2 pounds, which is slightly less than 1 kilogram of carbon, or they should be about 2 inches thick or more, again, which is about 5 centimeters. Also, avoid devices designed for home use. Use HEPA, HEPA room air cleaners along with a source capture system. Don't use these cleaners as a replacement. Use them in conjunction with source capture systems. Neither smells nor odors indicate whether a vapor is safe or potentially hazardous. So don't ventilate to control odors. Ventilate to control vapors and dust. Keep your general ventilation system, that's the HVAC system we talked about, keep that system clean and in good working order, and please, turned on during working hours. Many times I've come into salons and the ventilation system's turned off. Replace all air filters regularly and do this in accordance with the manufacturer's directions. Avoid using ozone-generating air cleaning devices. I also recommend to use a trash can with a self-closing lid and put one at every workstation. Empty the trash can several times a day and change the liners daily. A lot of vapors escape from these trash cans. By doing so, you can help prevent vapors from getting in the air. Also, properly ventilate your storage areas where your professional products are kept. And keep all of your product containers tightly closed when not in use. Make sure you're performing all salon work in a well-ventilated area. Now, one of my many responsibilities as co-chair of the Nail Manufacturers Council on Safety, or the NMC, is to work with other nail industry scientists and experts to create informational brochures that will help nail professionals understand how to work more safely with professional products. Recently, I worked with a team of NMC and ventilation industry experts to create a significant new update to an existing NMC brochure. This episode contains much of the important information that you'll find in this new NMC brochure, and the title of that brochure is Guidelines for Controlling and Minimizing Inhalation Exposure to Nail Products.